FM News Talk 97.1.
On-demand audio.
So earlier this week, Donald Trump started taking a little bit of heat when he came up and gave a speech to African Americans. Remember this one?
What the hell do you have to lose?
Now, he's repeated that at least once, and then he's also said that he's actually pointed out concrete things he wants to do to help the African American community, and his point was a good one. What have the Democrats done for you? For a lot of people, and not the African Americans who consider themselves middle class, of which there are a large percentage, but even for them, they've suffered through less than 3% economic growth as well. So why would you continue the same insane policies that we've had the last 7 years? It just makes no sense. My guest this hour is Wayne Allyn Root. Root for America is his website. He's got a new book out called Angry White Male. Wayne, how are you?
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Isn't it funny we're talking about how to get black votes and you're interviewing the guy who wrote Angry White Male?
Hey, there you go.
But you know what's funny is that Angry White Male, that title, even though, by the way, my book tour starts tomorrow in New York. I'll be on CNN. I'm flying the red eye, and I've got all kinds of interviews lined up for the next week. I'll bet it's the number one book in America. And I'm sure most of the buyers will be angry white men or their wives who pick it up for the husband. But really, that's not what the book's about. That's just my title because I'm an angry white male. When you open the book, the first thing I say is if you're black and you agree with me and you're angry, if you're Hispanic, if you're Asian, if you're a woman, this book isn't aimed at men or white men. This book is aimed at everyone. It happens to be that 40 million angry white males are the base of Donald Trump's support, and I'm one of them, and I can explain why in this book, why they're so angry. I've had several incidents in the last week that explain why we're so angry, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be angry if you're black because it's the middle class under attack. It's not whites under attack. It's the middle class, and it happens to be predominantly white. Pew Research says the middle class of America is 79% white. But that leaves millions, if not tens of millions, of minorities in the same middle class that are getting dumped on by liberal policies that ruin middle-class jobs and ruin our middle-class incomes and ruin our middle-class American dream life.
It's what I've argued all along. It's the economy. And if Donald Trump's policies can turn the economy around and bring jobs back and give you opportunity, why would you, unless you're just a wallet voter, if the federal government sends you a check each month that takes care of you, then maybe this isn't of interest to you. But for everyone else who wants opportunity to better themselves and better their lives for their children, I have no idea why in the world they would want to vote to continue the status quo.
Well, there's two quick things I would advise Donald, and believe me, I'm doing it. I'm advising Donald on this, and I don't know whether he'll listen. I hope he will. Number one, the real one to go after Hillary on is the Clinton Foundation. I'll get to that in a second. And number two is that Hillary wants to bring in, like 560,000 Muslim refugees to America in her first term. So 1 million over her 2 terms. The cost of the first 560,000 is $400 billion. Now, I'd like to ask every black person in America, wouldn't you rather have that $400 billion spent in inner-city black neighborhoods in the United States? And I think Donald should start saying, I would immediately cancel that 560,000 refugees. We don't want them. We don't need them. We don't want their terrorism. We don't need them on welfare from the first day they get here. We don't need to spend $400 billion on foreigners, no matter what they are, Muslim, Christian, or Jewish. What we need to do is spend the $400 billion on infrastructure and on fixing up black neighborhoods and on getting black kids off of drugs and out of prison and on making sure that schools in black neighborhoods are better schools. We could better spend the $400 billion. And then, this is ripped right from my book. Here's what I think Trump ought to say in a major TV commercial and put it on black entertainment TV. Your life declines. Your city burns, your kids die, and meanwhile, Hillary collects $2 billion in the Clinton Foundation from foreign governments. It's a charity scam. They paid out nothing to charity, but Chelsea got $1 million salary, and Chelsea got a $6 million penthouse overlooking Central Park. What did you get? Did you ever see Hillary invest $1 of the $2 billion back into American inner-city neighborhoods? Did she invest it with the NAACP? Did she give a dime ever to improve your life, your schools, your kids' education? And where did the money go to build Haitian schools? Because the Clintons never built what they promised to build in Haiti. Did it go to Chelsea? Did it go to private jet trips? The Clintons aren't your friends. With friends like this, Who needs enemies? I'm Donald Trump, and I'm offering real change to the black community, real jobs, action, not talk.
I saw one of the spokespeople. I don't think it was Mook. It was somebody. It may have been that Mook character come out and try to twist this spin, I guess is the best word, this Clinton Foundation story and the new emails that came out by claiming the AP didn't have all the information and there was no pay to play. You called this one of the biggest scams in world history.
Yeah, a long time ago. I mean, I've been writing, I've written 5 books in the last 5 years. Each one is 300 pages, so 1,500 pages, where in every book I say the Clinton Foundation is the biggest scam in world history. It makes Bernie Madoff look like a joke because Bernie didn't put a gun to your head. I mean, he was a liar. He was a fraud. He belongs in prison for life, but he's a private sector guy who says, invest your money with me, and you either write a check or you don't. Doesn't mean I don't feel terribly sorry for the people who wrote the check. But on the other hand, when it comes to someone who's Secretary of State that says to a foreign government or the CEO of a multinational billion-dollar company, give me money and I'll do everything I can as Secretary of State to help you out. And don't forget, I'll be president in 2 years. That's called extortion. That's called treason. That's a whole level of criminal act that's far beyond what Bernie Madoff did. It was just a pure, simple, run-of-the-mill ripoff. This is using the power of government to scam and twist and extol and intimidate foreign governments to give your foundation money, which opens the door to you as Secretary of State giving them awards and government contracts with taxpayer money. I don't know how you don't go to jail for life or literally get the death penalty for treason. I think if Donald Trump or a conservative like him was the Secretary of State and pulled off a scam like this, they'd burn the country down, liberals. The New York Times would burn the country down. They would demand Trump get the death penalty if he's found guilty. Let's be sure you say, you got to go to court, you got to be found guilty of treason, you got to prove it's treason. I get all that. I'm not suggesting Hillary should be killed and I'm out there to kill her. I'm not suggesting anyone else do it. I don't want any liberal organization saying something I didn't say. I'm saying that what you have a right to do now is have a trial and determine if what she did was treason. I believe it is treason, and I believe the penalty for treason is very severe. It's certainly life in prison. It's certainly Bernie Madoff type of situation, but it's much worse because she ripped off the American taxpayer.
Right, and we start with getting a special prosecutor assigned to the case. And
except the bad news about a special prosecutor is that's a guy who takes 2 years.
Yeah,
so this is
true.
Long beyond the election. The point is, what the news coming out every day is so bad. Drip, 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 and every day is something new, and it seems to get worse. She is not going to make it to November 8th. First of all, she's in bad physical shape. I'm telling you right now, I could see with my own eyes she's a very sick woman, physically ill. And I know why, because Mark, if you tried your whole life to hold a closet door closed and behind the door is 1,000 skeletons and they're all pushing to get out, that's enough to make anybody sick. If you knew you deleted 32,000 emails, and one of them, if not 100 of them, contained criminal information that would ruin your career and send you to prison, and you knew that even you deleted them, Putin has them in his hands, and WikiLeaks, Julian Assange has them in his hands, and you know what's on them, and you know they're just waiting till October 20th to release them. You're dead. The whole campaign's for nothing, and she knows it. She cannot last without these coming out. You and I both know both Putin and Julian Assange are not going to release the good stuff yet. It's too early. It's summertime.
Yeah.
They're waiting for October 20th to release the bombshell on Hillary, and she knows what she wrote, and she knows what she deleted, so she knows what's coming. No wonder she's sick.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I heard Reince Priebus say that he thought that by Labor Day this race would be tied. Let's talk about the pivot, the changes I've seen in Donald Trump's campaign since you and I last talked about a week and a half ago. It's been amazing. I think
it's been wonderful. I mean,
it's been wonderful.
I assume the credit goes to his new female campaign manager. I assume she is the reason all of this happened, and I assume that Kelly Conway is doing a fabulous job. But certainly something happened in the last week to 10 days that turned things around. The good news is, someone like Priebus has been saying things like that, and that's fine. We'll be even by Labor Day. We'll be okay. He's good. I give him good marks, by the way. He's been okay. He's been loyal to Donald relatively. But someone like me, Mark, has been in the media now for 2 weeks saying, you don't get it. We're already tied. He's only down, I was saying this 2 weeks ago, he's only down, forget the ones that show him down 10 or 15. They're polling any human being with a breath that answers the phone. And that's the fact. That's in those polls.
Sure.
Any person that's registered to vote and they call and you answer, they say Donald's down by 10. I would agree with that. If this election were about every American voting, Donald would lose by 10. This election is about likely voters, and our voters who like Donald are very passionate, very evangelical, and I don't mean that in a religious way. They're evangelical about Donald Trump. They're going to come out in percentages. Nobody loves Hillary. The people who love Hillary don't even like Hillary. They'll just vote for her with their nose closed. So in my opinion, any poll that shows you down 5 or less, you're really tied. So 2 weeks ago, I kept saying we're tied. Half the people won't even say. He's the whisper candidate. Every person I know that's in public says to me, I'm with you. I'm with Donald. They whisper they're for Donald. No one ever wants to say out loud they're for Donald. I'm about to write that commentary. He's the greatest whisper candidate ever. So I think you're going to see a Brexit on Election Day. In England, no expert, Mark, thought Brexit could win because nobody told the pollster they were for it. They just whispered it. I'm for Brexit. But they couldn't tell their friends. They couldn't tell their neighbors. They couldn't tell their coworkers. That's Donald Trump. So now that he really is tied in every poll the last 48 hours, he's tied. That means he's probably up by 7 to 10 because all the people that are whispering Trump aren't telling the pollster. So I think we're in such fantastic shape now that it's Hillary that should be panicking, and she is, and that's why she's physically sick.
I think you're right. The book is Angry White Male, How the Donald Trump Phenomenon is Changing America and What We Can All Do to Save the Middle Class. Can't wait to read it. Wayne Allyn Root for America is the website. Thanks for your time.
And it's out now at Amazon, of course. That's the easy way to get it. You just click and buy Amazon, Angry White Male. I appreciate you having me on, Mark.
Absolutely.
Good man. God bless.
Wayne, take care. We appreciate you. Thank you. $14 for the Kindle version, $16, $17 for the hardcover version. You can go ahead and order that now on Amazon if you want to. I'm looking forward to reading it. Wow. He gets me fired up just listening to him. I feel like he's on a treadmill when he's talking to me. Don't you get that impression?